to my escape. If you're new here, my name's Katie, and on this channel we talk about books. Yes, I should be doing my wrap-ups for both May and June, and they're done. I just simply am bored of wrap-ups, which is unfortunate because they're my favorite, but I don't want to post another one yet. So it's raining today, I have the day off, and I figured, you know what? I want to do a tier ranking video. In July, why? I don't know, but I do. I want to. And over the course of the week, I stumbled upon a new YouTuber to me. She's not new. She has a very big platform, but it's Lexi, aka Newly Nova or something like that. I'll tag her in the description down below. But she tier ranked every 5-star that she's ever ranked in a versions of like, yes, these are all 5 stars, but where do they fall and where do they fall now with my current reading tastes? And I love that. And I don't know why I never thought of that before. And I'm sure other people have done it as well. She was just the one that I saw do it. So I'm gonna do that now. I'm just gonna rank all of my 5 stars I have ranked on Goodreads. I think there's like 42 or something like that, but let's get into it. Okay, so I have some of the same categories that she did. She had I Will Never Shut Up About This Book, Perfect Book, No Notes, I Was Being Nice, and she doesn't even go here. I took out the last row of Sweet Summer Child, and instead I put in the middle, Perfect No, Still Love Yes, because I feel like I'll have a lot that fall into that category, because a 5-star for me does not mean it's a perfect book. It means I loved it. So that's what we're going with. And yes, we do have officially 42 books. I looked and we are going to get into it. So I started my Goodreads in 2013 and I pulled every 5-star I have off my Goodreads. So we'll see. Okay, starting with Ender's Game. This book is perfect and I will never shut up about it. No, okay, no, it's so good. The best sci-fi I've ever read. Okay, it might be basic, I don't care, it's amazing. I did a whole university project on it. Kind of defeated my love of sci-fi, but that's something else. 13 Reasons Why. Perfect, no, still love, yes. I never watched the TV show. I know there was a lot of issues with it. Thinking back, there were probably a lot of issues with the book itself, but I remember being absolutely enraptured and like deeply affected by this book for months when I read it. So, you know what? I still love it. I'm gonna leave it. A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, same thing. Perfect, no, still love, yes. I know there's a lot of issues in the pacing of this book. I know nothing happens for a good majority of it. I love it, okay? I love it. It's the second in the From Bud Nash series. And honestly, you're just chilling with the relationship this whole book, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm also gonna go with Perfect No, Still Love Yes. I know that there are other categories, okay? But it's either that or I Was Being Nice, and I don't think I'm ready to put Fourth Wing and I Was Being Nice. I know there's a lot of issues with that one too. Plot's not the strongest. But I had fun. Kingdom of the Curse, I'm actually going to put into I Was Being Nice. I know I love that book, and I know I've read it like 3 times. I don't actually remember everything that happens in that book. And I know that there are also, again, this is the second in the series. It might be the first one, kind of like curtailing my love of the second because I don't love the first one, but it's probably not a 5-star on with the rest of them. Defy the Night is literally a perfect book, no notes. I'm waiting to get into the rest of the series, I know, but it's a trilogy. I needed the 3rd book to be released before I got into the 2nd one, but it is like a pandemic Robin Hood retelling. Say less, yes. Perfect, no notes. Beach Read, also perfect, no notes. Okay, lovely contemporary romances. They're both authors. They try to swap genres. We love. Okay, so fun. The Mindfuck series, I will never shut up about this book. And yes, it is a collection of novellas, but I'm grouping it all under one book. I will never shut up about this book. It is the perfect revenge plot. It is everything you could ever possibly want from a revenge book. I adore it. Okay, I actually just reread it 2 days ago, yesterday. Literally so good. 4, I'm gonna put in I Was Being Nice. I don't truly remember this one. I know that it's the Divergent, the character called 4. It's like a couple of the scenes throughout the series in his POV, and I loved 4, so I loved his point of view. But I actually don't remember anything else about it. So I was probably just being nice for that one. Losers, I will never shut up about this book. And I'm just gonna go ahead right now and rank Losers Part 2 because really they're the same book in my brain, and I will never shut up about these, okay? It is the perfect polyamorous relationship, okay? Literally, you could not have a more flawless synctuplet, whatever, 5 people who are all in love and so supportive and wonderful to each other. I literally They are the absolute cutest, and Madsen Reed will have my heart forever. Okay, Cinder, also perfect book, no notes. I've not finished the series yet. I know I'm god awful at finishing series. It's a thing. I love it, okay? It's like a YA science fiction spin on a bunch of fairy tales. So the first one is Cinderella, the second one is Red Riding Hood, the third one I think is Rapunzel, and the fourth one is Snow White, but I haven't got to the fourth one yet. They're fun. I think the writing's really good. I love Marissa Mayer. Yes, just yes all around. Perfect book, no notes. Okay, The Fire Within is gonna have to go into She Doesn't Even Go Here. I'm sorry. I don't actually remember this book at all. I remember the moment in time I was reading it. I was quite young. I was on vacation with my family. I was sitting beside my mom at the pool. I had just gotten a Kobo, and this was one of the books I got on Kobo. And I remembered literally not a single thing that happened in the book. But I do remember that I really wanted to go into the sequel, and it wasn't published yet, and it either never got published or wasn't published for a long time because I kept going back and looking for it. But I entirely forgot this book existed. I only remember the moment in time I read it, and I have no idea what happened in it. So I'm sorry, but it has to go, and She Doesn't Even Go Here. The Night Circus is gonna go into I will never shut up about this book, okay? I read The Night Circus in grade 9, and I was so obsessed with it that I had a sweet 16 birthday party based off of that book. I made people come in costumes. I had a color scheme. It was a whole thing. It was amazing. I might be a loser, but it was amazing. And I will never shut up about this book. This book is vibes. If you want fast pace, if you want a good plot, if you want anything like that, pick a different book. This book is purely vibes, and you just want to live in it. Okay, they also have some cool parts written in second person, and that was the first time I'd ever read a second person in a book, and just literally love. I will never shut up about that book. Entwined, I'm gonna go in perfect book, no notes. It's a comfort read for me. It's probably my main comfort read. I used to read it every year around Christmas. It's a YA fairy tale retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses. The sisters in this book is so cute though. It is technically a romance, I think, very slow burn, but I didn't even like the romance when I was not a romance reader when I picked this up for the first time. I just loved like the sisters and our main girl, and perfect book, no notes. Divergent, I was being nice. Okay, I know there's a lot of issues with it. No, you know what? I can't even say that. Perfect, no, still love, yes. I know this book has so many flaws, okay? And I know people are like, it wrecked the YA genre. I don't care. I loved it when I read it. I loved it. The rest of the series don't even talk to me about, but that first book hit. I'm sorry, but it hit. Moon Over Manifest, perfect book, no notes. Read it in grade 6 based off of a teacher's recommendation. I remember I loved it. I remember the book had me sobbing. I remember it's a historical fiction which flashes back between like the 1960s and World War I think. Anyways, it had me sobbing by the end, just wrecked. And every time I look at it to be like, I should reread that, my brain is like, you cannot handle the emotion. What caused that emotion? I don't know. But I do know that it hit hard. Revolution, I'm gonna put into I was being nice. So before I really got back into reading in 2022, I had 5 favorite books. Okay, there was not a one. Okay, there was my top 5. Revolution was in that top 5 for a long time. And I've tried to reread it twice now, and both times I find the writing very dull and the story very slow, and I can't get into it. I remember at the time when I picked it up, I loved it. I thought the whole idea of like this being set in the French Revolution and the catacombs and like kind of a historical fiction, but it's in the present. This girl's traumatized. She goes to France for the summer or something with her dad, falls into the catacombs, hits her head, starts seeing the French Revolution, something like that. I don't fully remember. There might be a diary involved. I don't fully remember. I remember I was immersed and I was like obsessed with the French Revolution for like a year after this book. But I can't get myself to get all the way through it again, which is why it's going in I was being nice. Okay, The Forgotten Game. I don't know how to rank this one. I have to put it in She Doesn't Even Go Here. And that hurts my soul. Okay? Because L.J. Smith is not my favorite writer. By far. I've also tried to do the Night World series, or whatever that one is, with like the 3 volumes. And I've read 2 of the volumes, and I mean, it's... My thing with L.J. Smith is I really like conceptually how she plans a book and how she sees a book. I hate her writing though. I hate reading the actual story, but I like the idea behind the story, and nothing is more true for that than the Forbidden Game. And there are parts of this book that live absolutely rent-free in my mind. Like, I know there's a ring, and on the inside, engraved, it's like, all I refuse and thee I choose. Why is that burned in my brain? Why? I don't know, but there are just certain aspects of this that I absolutely loved, but the delivery was atrocious. So take that as you will. I might still recommend this book. It's like YA, she wants to surprise her boyfriend for his birthday, so she buys this game. So it kind of gives Jumanji vibes, because then the game ends up pulling them in. So they all had to write like their biggest nightmares on a card, and then the game pulls them in and traps them in this house, and they have to like work their way through all their nightmares in order to get out, because this like demon is hunting her. It's like this whole thing. Anyways, the premise I loved. The premise was so good. The delivery, so bad, so bad. I can't. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. Perfect no, still love yes. And I'm gonna say perfect no because there's aspects of the movie which I wish were in the book that aren't, but there's aspects of the book that I wish were in the movie that aren't in the movie either. But I loved this one. I loved Pride and Prejudice. I don't actually think I rated it 5 stars, so I don't think it's on this, it will be on this video, but I love Pride and Prejudice. And Pride and Prejudice and Zombies is literally Pride and Prejudice with zombies put in. And I mean, like, the first line of the books are almost identical. It's like, the first line of Pride and Prejudice is something like, a man in possession of a great fortune must be in want of a wife or something. And then the first line of Pride and Prejudice and Zombies is like, a zombie in possession of brains must be in want of more brains. Like, we love, okay, we love. Winter Girls, I'm gonna put in perfect no, still love yes. Winter Girls I read in like grade 7. It was the first book I saw that really talked about any sort of eating disorder. And this one I think is bulimia or anorexia, maybe a combination of the two. But being in the headspace of these characters really messed up my brain. And not being like, oh, I'm gonna get an eating disorder from reading this book, but like showed me how triggering things can be and how like atrociously messed up eating disorders are on your mind. I still think back on that book a lot, and that has given me a lot of empathy in life and compassion that otherwise I don't think I would have. So you know what, I actually feel like I owe that book a lot. I remember the writing was kind of cool and that it was very like broken up. This was the same era I was reading Ellen Hopkins, or Ellen something Hopkins, like the poetry. This is like very broken up and there's like timestamps and stuff like that. I don't remember the full story, but I know that it made an impact and it hit hard. So perfect no, still love yes. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go perfect book, no notes. Based off of my description, it really is still lasting with me. Perfect book, no notes. The Forgotten Garden, I'm gonna put in I was being nice, which is really unfortunate because all 5 of my original, these are my 5 faves, are now on this list. It was The Night Circus, Entwined, Moon Over Manifest, Revolution, and Forgotten Garden, and 2 of them are now in I Was Being Nice. The Forgotten Garden, I also got recommended to me by my teacher when I was in grade 6, and I read it, and at the time it really wasn't my style. Still to this day, it's not my style, but it's like a historical fiction, slow burn, not like slow burn romance, I mean like very slow burn plot, if that makes sense. I do remember being enraptured by it, but I think the reason it was on my 5 stars for so long was because I loved that teacher. Because this is sat on my shelf, and every summer I look at my 5 favorites and I'm like, ooh, am I gonna read them again? The Forgotten Garden, I have never wanted to pick up again. Because I know it's so slow and it's very thick, and I'm just like, no. So I was being nice on that one. Warriors Into the Wild, I'll never shut up about this book. This book is one of the first that got me into reading ever, like as a child. It is a children's book. There are bazillions of series in this world by these authors. Erin Hunter is a group of 4 women, I think, that all write them together. There are no humans, it's all cats. You follow our main cat, Rusty is his first name. Then it goes to Firepaw. Then it goes to Fireheart, Firestar. Okay, he gets a lot of names. It's so good. I'm not really big on people. I love animals. So having a whole world centered around cats in a forest, we love. We love. Literally, I will never shut up about it. Now, this was weird to me because Harry Potter and the Order of Phoenix was on my 5-star Goodreads read, but none of the other Harry Potters were. And out of all the Harry Potters, I think that's my least favorite. So I don't know why that ended up, but she doesn't even go here. Maybe, you know what? No, I was being nice, okay? Harry Potter, I did love Harry Potter. I had this whole phase, utterly obsessed with it, as I feel like most people were. But like Harry Potter and the Order of Phoenix was not the best one. I don't know why it's the only one on that list. So I was being nice when I put that there. Einstein's Dreams, I will never shut up about. This was such a weird book, but it's very short, and it's like, it's one running theme, but essentially this guy is like describing these dreams he's having to his friend over coffee. So like every chapter is his dream, but like a different dream, and then there's like 2 chapters where he's like talking to his friend. But every chapter and every dream is based off of one of Einstein's concepts. It was so interesting. It was so cool. I did it for a book report in grade 9. I shouldn't have. Should not have even been on the list, because one of them in this book report, I had to like analyze dialogue on these like specific themes. There are like 2 lines of dialogue in this book. Like, and then it was like character development. There are no characters, okay? Because every dream has different people in it, if there are any people at all. Like, terrible book for a book report. Incredible book though. For Happy Place, I'm gonna maybe put it in perfect no, still love yes. I mean, I just read this one. I haven't sat on it for that long. It did make me tear up. But it just kind of is what it is, I think. Maybe, you know, as time progresses, that might actually be bumped down, but for now, I'm very happy with it. Bride, perfect no, still love yes. I had a blast with Bride. Also read that this year, and it was fun. It's Omegaverse, it's fantasy romance, it's a vampire and a werewolf against the humans, it's a girl who's very sarcastic and doesn't like children. We love, okay? Love. Lessons in Chemistry was perfect book, no notes. It's, I think, just general fiction, but it's a woman set in like the 1950s and 60s, and it's like her struggles being a woman in chemistry and not being taken seriously. It's a whole look at sexism and how it affected women's lives and continues to affect their lives. And yeah, it was just a hard hitter, and it was a good book overall. Like, it was actually enjoyable to read. Fate Calls the Elf Queen, perfect no, still love, absolutely, absolutely. So that's the 3rd in the series. This book went in such a different direction than everything else. This is the story, this is where the 3rd book went, and we love that. We love that, okay? Because we were liking the story, and then this book came along, and then we loved the story. So literally, perfect, probably not. Lots of people hate it because it was like an entirely new series. Like, she should have just started a new series, but I loved it. Divine Rivals, perfect book, no notes, or perfect no still, you know what, perfect book, no notes. Divine Rivals is a vibe. It's like a fantasy historical romance. Take like World War I vibes. Instead of being like kind of countries warring, it's gods warring, and they're making the people war for them. Literally such a vibe. So just, oh, we love, no notes. Shadow of the Fox, perfect no, still love yes. Shadow of the Fox is a YA fantasy, and it's all side quests. It is all side quests, and it is a blast. This Woven Kingdom, also perfect no, still love yes. You know what, might even be perfect book, no notes. Might even be perfect book, no notes. I'm gonna put it up there. I'm gonna leave it up there. Okay, this is my show. This is a YA fantasy romance, and it's giving like Ottoman Empire vibes, and there's lots of Jinn, and Jinn don't like the humans, and she's like, I can't tell you what she is because that'll spoil things, but like, oh, so good. And the cliffhanger for that one, so freaking good. No notes. House of Salt and Sorrows, perfect no, still love yes. Okay, it's a little slow, I will give it that. If you listen to it on audio, like, so good, phenomenal. But it is a YA horror, or a YA fantasy horror, and it's also like a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling, but by the time the book opens, like 4 sisters are already dead, and the next sister is trying to figure out like why, or like what has happened. And there's like themes of like insanity, but then there's also like supernatural, and it's like, is it in her head? Are these things real? Like, do we know? I do want to put it in perfect book, no notes, but I do have the note of it's a little slow in the beginning. I'm sorry. From Blood and Ash, I will never shut up about this book. Are there notes to make? Yes. Are there critiques? Yes. Will I ever shut up about this book? No. I love this book. I feel like Renegades, I'll put in Perfect Book No Notes. Arc Enemies, I actually want to put in I Will Never Shut Up About This Book. And Supernova, Perfect Book No Notes, or I Will Never Shut Up About This Book. Maybe Perfect Book No Notes. So it is a trilogy. It's a YA fantasy superheroes book, and it's like child of the villain versus child of the superheroes, but they're both undercover. It is a ton of fun. It makes you think. I absolutely loved it. Phenomenal series. I just feel like Arc Enemies is a little bit higher than the rest because there's this one scene in Arc Enemies that has my whole soul and is like my favorite trope ever, and I rarely get to see it. But it has that, so it needs to be higher than the other two, but I, honest to God, love the whole series together. Heated Rivalry. You know what? Perfect Book No Notes. It probably should have notes, but it doesn't have any notes for me. I loved the pacing for this one. I loved the romance for this one. It's a contemporary romance between these two guys playing professional hockey, and just the representation of the sport and the homophobia in the sport, their love for each other, the secret relationship, and then the ending. This book had me smiling so hard that my jaw physically ached by the end of it. Oh, literally just Perfect Book No Notes. Perfect Book No Notes. Book lovers, I also think I'm gonna put in Perfect Book No Notes. It's definitely become a comfort read for me now. It's a contemporary romance with a book agent and a book editor, and they're both like very type A, very city people, and it kind of just like very overtly confronts all of the Hallmark stereotypes, and like we love them. I love their development, both like singularly and together as a couple. I love the book. Oh, forever will live in my heart. Perfect Book No Notes. Sinners Consumed. Perfect no, still love, yes. I adore how I got a mafia romance on my 5 stars. But this is a mafia romance. It's the third in a series, but the second in a couple duology. You need the first one in the duology to be able to appreciate the second one to be a 5-star, because the first one is all burn and the second one is all payout. So really they should be ranked together, but if they're ranked together, they're not a 5-star. But if you just get the payout, it's a 5-star. There is still a lot wrong with it, but I love it. Once Upon a Broken Heart is Perfect Book No Notes. This book literally blindsided me last year. I read it, oh my god. I think I read it a year ago, officially. I either read this in July or August of last year, but it blindsided me. I read another series by the author, hated it, but this book is magical. It's a YA fantasy romance, and the world building in this is just incredible. It takes you back to like when you would read books as a child with like the vivid imagination. Oh, love. Perfect Book No Notes. Okay, and then the last one, Empire of the Vampire. See, when I read this one, I was like, is this my new favorite book of all time? Like, I loved it. And I still love it. I do, but is it I Will Never Shut Up About This, or is it Perfect Book No Notes? I don't know. I might shut up about it at some point. I feel like I haven't talked about it a lot recently. I think Empire of the Vampire is just, it's too new for me to truly say I will never shut up about it. So I think I have to put it in the Perfect Books No Notes. It might be I will never shut up about it, but it's too early now. But this, if you missed it, it's a fantasy with like 3 timelines, hunting vampires, lots of religious undertones, and it is spectacular. The humor hits, the representation hits, we love. Honestly, this isn't too bad. Aside from like, she doesn't even go here, and maybe I was being nice, they're all still 5 stars, and they will all live rent-free in my heart. But I'm pretty happy with the way it's broken down right now. It is what it is. I'm happy with it. I hope you're happy with it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If there's anything you agree with or disagree with, let me also know in the comments how many 5 stars have you read this year. But that is all I have for you guys today. Thanks for sticking around. I will tag Lexi's video down in the description. I do recommend you go watch it. I had a lot of fun with it. I think it's a couple months old, but I just stumbled across it now. Aside from that, I post videos every other Saturday and some shorts throughout the week, so ring that bell for notifications and you won't miss anything, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye!